Guests on NewsNight, the chairman of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, Dr. Mzalendo Kibunja. Do welcome to NewsNight tonight.
Good evening, viewers.
My other guest as well tonight, lawyer and coordinator for the No campaign in Central and Nairobi Province, Wanyiri Kihoro. Welcome to NewsNight.
Good evening.
And I'm your moderator for tonight, Beatrice Marshall. Do remember, please write in 8040 and participate in the debate. We will also be reading them out at the end of the program tonight. Now, I'll start with you, Dr. Kibunja there. The commission has been in the news lately. Criticism for allegedly selectively applying the law in regards to hate speech. Perhaps, first of all, give us an insight into what the commission sees as hate speech.
If you read the National Cohesion and Integration Act of 2008, Section 13, it says if you use insulting language, if you use threatening language, if you use intimidating language, or publishes material, or produces a play that is set or is intended to stir ethnic hatred or religious hatred or racial hatred, then it constitutes hate speech.
Now, the argument that you're selectively applying the law.
Yes, I have had those criticisms, and it's okay to be criticized, but what I would say is that the commission really follows the law, follows the process that's there, and our processes are open. They are not secretful, and the reports that we write and the materials that we write actually are open to public scrutiny. And I wouldn't want those people who are saying that we are selectively targeting the No campaign, which I have had, to confront us with evidence that clearly satisfies Section 13 of the National Cohesion Integration Act, and if the commission does not act, then those criticisms will be fair and okay.
Wanyiri, what is the feeling of the No campaign here, though? Because there are proponents of the No campaign who have accused the commission of selectively applying that law in regard to hate speech and saying it is only members of the No campaign that are being targeted here.
Yeah, because we have got a very long list of people who have been advancing the Yes campaign, and we find it incredible that they actually made the kind of statements that have been made later on by the No campaigners, and nothing has happened to them. I remember the launch of the Yes campaign when I heard one lady minister say that it is time for the president and the prime minister to put on their iron gloves and punch hard and remove people who are opposed to the draft constitution. And I find it that no action was taken since 4 ministers who have been also advancing the Yes campaign. They have also made similar statements like the ones that have been made based on the draft constitution. Many of the statements that have made people arrested, the ministers and also the MPs, they have been arrested because of making statements that criticize Article 67 of the draft constitution, which actually says historical claims can, they're saying they can lead to dissent, they can lead to confiscation of land that is held by certain people, and that is why they have been arrested. And we find that in the past, certain ministers today sitting in government, they have not been fired like, unfortunately, Mr. Mashage, but they are still sitting pretty in government, and they have made these statements before.
Issues such as those that Wanyiri is raising.
Yeah, they should point the problem with that section. I have no problem. But where you say that if you pass this constitution, I would imagine you would say that we will make our claims on ancestral land. How you make that claim and how it's adjudicated does not mean that whoever who is living in that land who is not has no historical claim on it will have to vacate the land. If you adjudicate an historical issue, it doesn't mean that if you don't belong to that tribe or that ethnicity, that you leave that place. But when you say emphatically that when it passes, you should leave, very clearly you are inciting one community against the other, which is not the case.
Wanyiri, your response?
I think that the draft constitution, it should be debated with cadre, with vigor, and with openness. when you have got in Article 67, sub-article E, a provision that the National Land Commission will initiate investigations on its own initiative or on a complaint into present or historical land injustices and recommend appropriate redress. I find it incomprehensible that anybody can be arrested and charged again in our courts, which have been much discredited because some of these charges should be dismissed out of hand. Nobody should have been arrested at all. And you find that the historic land injustices, you can't investigate historic land injustices without going into the history. You can't. You have to go into colonial period. That we are talking about 1900 up to 1915. That is 15 years when a lot of the land was taken from ethnic groups in this country, and that is what the National Land Commission is being asked to investigate. So how do you investigate that without going into that history? And when you make statements like that and you find you are being arrested, we are just being told that this constitution is a government project and you shouldn't talk about it, and for 4th of August, come what may, it will go through.
Let me give you an example of that case we are looking. The Kibera area, which the Nubians are claiming. They have an historical right, it was given to them. Are you telling me that we cannot, if we adjudicate the Nubian historical claim of Kibera, that the only way we will satisfy their concern is chasing away the Kikuyus who live there, the Kisis who live there, the Luyas who live there? Is it possible then, if in that, using that clause, to say, okay, this land was taken away, historically it belongs to you, unfortunately other Kenyans inhabited it, maybe we will find you an alternative land to settle. Would that be a good adjudication? You don't have to return Kibera to the Nubians by chasing away the Kisis and the Luyas who live in that land.
We're looking at this, though, as matters of interpretation, as Wanyeri says, that if you look at certain issues, there are certain statements you have to make in relation with the referendum, but you're looking at it from the point of view that we can talk about the Constitution without specifying certain issues. Now, are we seeing the law here then infringing on that freedom of speech?
I'm sure. I mean, the English language vocabulary is so large. And what we're saying is that whatever claims you may have on land you have, I'm sure there is a better way of saying it than threatening people, than intimidating people, where if I know I will be chased out of my land, the first thing I should do is walk away or have an upper there, not vote at all.